We know that they were made right back into medieval times, at least in the times of the Tudors. They're a cheap form of footwear. They're cheaper than a leather boot. They're warm, but probably the main thing was that at the time, with the technology that they had, they were the best footwear for wet conditions. The places where clogs stayed the main footwear were places where you had a lot of wet ground, but a fairly light soil, so it didn't clog up. Clog up comes from mud sticking to the sole and just building up. I get orders from America. I get orders by word of mouth. The most I've made is about 2 pairs in a day, but the problem is that the more my standards go up, actually, the slower I seem to get. And I buy the leather in from the tannery and I dye it myself. You have to go out and cut the wood down, chainsaw, select it, bring it back. You tend not to put that in on the hours. When they say, if you're pricing a craft, what you do is you know that you're only going to spend half your time is going to be production. So if you want to make £20 an hour, you've got to charge 40. That's an absolute rule. Of course, none of us do that, so we all end up making absolute peanuts. The only person that's been taught to do this since I started works out of a museum. It's not viable. You can't make a living at it. It's a very, very poor living. I didn't want to contribute to what I thought was a fairly insane world, so I was looking to slide sideways. A lot of people were. There was a guy down at Tregaron making clogs, and I went to work for him for free, and I worked for him for free for about a year. I mean, when you spent 30 years trying to get something right and trying to resurrect it and keep it going, you're thinking, well, is it valid to spend government money on that? I mean, you expect to pay for the arts. Other countries pay for crafts. They pay people to continue to do these things. It's a fine line. I mean, if you're paying somebody to be an amateur, or are you supporting the difference that they need in order to keep going, in order to keep that skill alive?